CEO finally found his wife, who had been missing for 30 years. When he arrived at her door with flowers and gifts, he was greeted by a young girl. Upon learning that the girl was his wife's daughter, the CEO assumed his wife had remarried. Not wanting to disturb her current happiness, he made up an excuse to leave. Before he left, he placed the flowers and gifts at the door, planning to bury his feelings deep inside. But as he stepped into the elevator to leave, his wife, who had been widowed for 30 years, came out of another elevator. Once again, they missed each other. As soon as the woman reached her front door, she saw the flowers and gifts on the ground. When she opened the gift box, she was shocked to find a necklace that was identical to the one the CEO had prepared for his wife. To find out if the CEO was her husband, the woman went to the company the next morning to ask the CEO what his wife's name was. When she heard the name and realized it was exactly the same as hers, she was instantly stunned, because she was indeed the CEO's long-lost wife. It turned out that 30 years ago, just 1 month after they got married, her husband received a national call to defend the strait against foreign enemies. She hadn't even had the chance to tell him she was pregnant with twins, before the truck carrying the volunteers drove away. With the surrounding noise, her husband couldn't hear her words at all. Little did they know that his departure would last 30 years. Now their children have grown up and started their own families, and the woman has taken a cleaning job to be self-sufficient. Whenever she misses her husband, she takes out their marriage certificate, which has long since yellowed. She gradually forgets her husband's appearance. One day, while working at the company as usual, the woman is harassed by the logistics manager. Fortunately, the commotion attracts the CEO. The manager falsely claims the woman is flirting with him. The woman tries to explain, but no one believes her, thinking the young manager couldn't possibly like an older woman. Just as the CEO is unsure how to decide, the assistant brings in the surveillance footage, which ultimately proves that the manager had harassed the woman repeatedly. The manager is promptly fired. From that day on, the woman becomes the CEO's personal secretary. Upon hearing that the CEO was searching for his wife after 30 years, she inquires about the circumstances of their separation, only to discover that it mirrors her own situation with her husband. She begins to suspect that the CEO might actually be her husband. After the CEO gathers information about his wife, he gathers the courage to make a phone call, but when he hears a man answer, he assumes his wife has remarried and started a new family. Just as the CEO is about to give up his search, the woman encourages him not to lose hope, and helps him buy a bouquet to give to his wife. The next morning, the woman asks the CEO if he saw his wife the night before. The CEO replies that he was met by his wife's daughter, speculating that his wife must have a new family. This prompts the woman to ask the CEO what his wife's name is. Upon hearing that the name is the same as hers, the woman again doubts that the CEO could be her husband, but quickly dismisses the thought, believing it must be a coincidence. Little does she know, her husband had been stranded on a beach for 30 years. During those years, he worked hard and became a billionaire CEO. His return is solely to find his wife. Now that he knows she has a new family, he decides not to disturb her and plans to hold a charity auction for a Heart of the Ocean ring in his wife's name at the welcome banquet tomorrow night. However, just before the banquet begins, the woman faces harassment from her former employer. Fortunately, the CEO arrives just in time to stop it.